Hello and welcome to another lecture of Homeschool MBA. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. So the agenda today is negotiations in management. We will spend some time giving you an overview on what is really taught in negotiations in management. This one-pager summarizes most of the topics that are taught in this class for negotiations in management. We've tried to summarize everything here. So hello and welcome, Professor. How are you doing? And let's get started.
I'm pretty good. Thank you very much.
What is negotiation and what is conflict management?
Well, negotiation is an art of convincing others towards your own point of view. Basically, John F. Kennedy, the ex-president of United States of America, once said, never fear to negotiate and never negotiate out of fear. Now, that sets the base for negotiations. So basically, negotiation is an art of talking to other party and convincing them towards your own point of view. So in management sciences, it's a very important topic because sometimes you have to negotiate contracts and then you have to negotiate prices, you have to negotiate various strategies and things like that.
Mhm.
Yes.
What are various strategies of negotiation?
Well, there are a number of strategies, but mostly I would discuss, say, two or three of them. The most important is win-win strategy. And then in this case, both the parties win and both the parties are very happy. The other is win and lose strategy. In this, one party wins and the other party loses. And then third type of strategy is lose-lose strategy, where both the parties lose. So these are three basic strategies in negotiations. Yes.
Okay. I guess my next question is, what are various kinds of conflicts?
Conflict. There are, political conflicts. Then there are financial conflicts, and then there are contractual conflicts. There are personality conflicts. There are many types of conflicts. So our aim is not to get into political or other conflicts. Our aim here is to get into the conflicts faced by various managements and employees in the course of their operations and all that.
Okay. I guess my next question is, who should negotiate?
Well, that's a very important question. And basically, there are number of, even consultant companies, chartered accountants, and, advocates who specialize in negotiations. But it depends on the level of conflict that is to be negotiated. You can hire a chartered accountants company to negotiate, or consultants, or even your senior management. So the point is the value and the level of conflict will determine who should negotiate. Yes.
Okay. And I guess what are any expected outcomes?
The outcomes here, as I said in the strategies, you always want to go for win-win situation, and in this you have to make some kind of preparations to achieve those outcomes. Let us say that the process of negotiation, first of all, you must do your homework. You must understand that what is the conflict, how do you want to negotiate, and what outcomes are you looking forward? And then you must also understand that what the other party is expecting out of you.
I see. Yeah.
Will they be able to give you what you want? Or will you be able to give them what they want? So all these questions, they can be answered only if you have done your homework. You have understood the conflict, you have understood the demands of the other party, and you have understood your own position, and you are very sure what you want and what can you give. So that is number one, is the homework must be done before the process of negotiation starts. And then there is whether you want to negotiate in one sitting or you want to go, step by step approach. What they call is step by an approved step approach, that you approach the other party in a manner that you agree between yourself on principles that how you want to negotiate. And during this course of action, you actually also try to understand their point of view and their priorities. So that is the process of negotiation. And then, of course, the person or the company that is negotiating must be given full authority to take decision. If the negotiator doesn't have the authority to take decision, he or she will not be confident enough. So you have to give the authority of decision making to them, and then you must be prepared to accept that decision. Yes, that's how you have to. We can't go into,
Yeah.
micro details because
Yeah.
that would make the lecture too long.
Okay. Couple of more questions. How do you see trust and creating value during a negotiation?
You see, trust is basically based upon your previous experience with the other party. If you have been in business with them, then history of your business would give you the level of trust, because the trust is always consequent upon your previous, relationship with the other party. The other is that when you agree to, legalize the process of negotiation, that also creates trust. So that is how you create the trust. As far as the value is concerned, I said that, you see, let your negotiator know that his or her decision would be final and binding on them, and let the other party know that whatever we negotiate will be binding on both of us. So that will create the value of negotiation.
Okay. One other question comes to my mind is, these days everything is obviously very global. How do you see, culture impacting negotiations? And also, we don't get that opportunity to have a lot of face-to-face communication these days. So I guess
Yes.
two questions. One is cross-culture approach, and then, with these days, email and all that, how to do that as a negotiation.
Yes, that's a very, very important observation that you have made. Cross-culture expectations. You see, we are actually going through a clash of cultures. Now, in certain cultures, you see, let us say, agree to disagree is considered to be defeat. But in other cultures, agree to disagree is a kind of win-win situation, because especially the American strategy is agree to disagree, and they don't feel bad about it. But in underdeveloped countries, agree to disagree is not a very good strategy. So that is a cultural issue. The other cultural issue is that some people in some cultures, you see, saying no to what the other party is saying becomes a little bit embarrassing for them, and they start making, excuses that it may be possible, it may not be possible, and they want to adopt a, middle of the road approach, which is wrong.
Mhm.
I would say that when you don't agree, simply say, sorry, I don't agree with this, and let the other party ask you the question, and you come through. So the cultures, they do play a big role in negotiations.
Mhm. So my next question was, in this day and age where we don't have a face-to-face opportunity that much, how
Mhm.
difficult
Mhm.
can negotiations be, or what are some lessons learned?
Well, it's as far as you see, face to face, or, on, let's say, online, and, using technology for negotiation is going to be a very important method of, communicating now with each other. So we will have to learn about it. Of course, face to face negotiations, they do express your, body language and your expressions and your
Mhm.
symbols that you use in your negotiations and things like that. So that can be beneficial. At the same time, sometimes the body language can, create a negative impression on the other party. So
Mhm.
I would say that negotiations held on internet or on this, let's say, the
Skype or
web,
something.
etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a part of part of life today.
Okay. Okay. The other one is, when should we have a like a third party used for negotiation? In
Okay.
Yeah.
Third party, it actually depends on the volume of let's say, business involved, or the volume of negotiations.
Hmm.
And it also depends on your own preparations. If
Hmm.
you do not have, let's say, the required skills and the required people in your own company to negotiate, then you can always hire the consultants, you can hire the arbitration companies, you
I
can
see.
hire chartered accountants and all that,
Yeah.
and explain your business and explain your point of view as far as the conflict is concerned, and then let them, negotiate. But in this case, make sure that you remain in touch with your negotiators.
Okay. Yeah. So I think my takeaway is, obviously, in this course, there's a scientific method to negotiation that is being taught, where
Hmm.
you plan your things, then you have to plan your approach, and during the
Hmm.
negotiation figure out things, and
Hmm.
get your message across and get your
Hmm.
clients to agree
Hmm.
what you want. Maybe we should
Hmm.
end by saying, from your end, just give us a take of, from a high quality agreement, how do you see that? Is that basically what you want, or is that something that's benefit for everybody? What's a true high quality agreement in your mind?
High quality agreement is with which both the parties agree,
Hmm.
and it basically relates to a win-win situation where both the parties have agreed to give away and take away. So it is basically win-win situation.
I see.
But to do that, as I said before, you need to define your objectives, goals, and strategy, that how do you want to go about,
Hmm.
and you want to understand the issue, and you want to create trust
Hmm.
in your negotiations with the other party, and also make sure that the cross culture conflicts do not come into your negotiations. And
Hmm.
as I said earlier, empower the people who are negotiating from your side. In this case is the third party, let's say
Hmm.
arbitrator, and the arbitrator's decision is always binding on both the parties, and it can be challenged it cannot be challenged in the court of law, because both the parties agree with each other that whatever the third party will decide will be binding on us. So use the art and science of negotiation, and learn about the strategies, your strategy and other people's strategy. Understand their point of view very well. That will make you achieve your objectives.
Yep.
And when you engage them in negotiations, you must receive the feedback that how they are taking your point of view, and also give feed forward to them whether you are very happy to proceed further, or you are not comfortable. So that is done only when when your people have proper skills and are associated with negotiation process and practices, and they put in their out of box skills into action, so that they can really achieve the end result.
All right.
That's it.
Very interesting. I think to me, this was one of the negotiation class in the MBA was a very interesting class. It made me realize that you pretty much negotiate almost every day, depending, even when you start from a junior engineer or to get into senior management. Every meeting, you're pretty much negotiating, trying to get your point across or your company's point across. So very interesting overview, Professor. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to all our social media. Thank you, Professor. Till we meet again for our next lecture. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're always welcome.